You are nice. So why does that sometimes end up working against you? Why does the person who stays smiling and avoids conflict often end up being treated with less respect than the person who is more direct? About 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that it is better for a reader to be feared than loved if they cannot have both. He was not saying that being cruel is good. He was pointing out something practical about human behavior. When someone loves you, their feelings can change depending on their mood. But when someone fears you, what shapes their behavior is not emotion. It is understanding that there will be a clear negative result if they cross a line with you. Every time you let disrespect or poor behavior slide, you are communicating something without saying it directly. You are showing the other person that there is no real consequence for what they just did. For example, if someone speaks to you in a disrespectful way and you respond by laughing it off or changing the subject, you are teaching them that this behavior does not lead to any correction or pushback. Mechiavelli observed that leaders often lose control in the same way. When rules or boundaries are not enforced, people begin to test them. They do not always do this out of malice, but because they want to understand how far they can go. If nothing happens when they cross a line, they slowly assume that the line does not exist. Once that happens, it becomes much harder to re-establish control later, because people have already learned that the boundary is flexible. The same idea applies to generosity. If you constantly give people help, if you constantly give them time or money or emotional support without any limits, people can start to assume that this support will always be available to them. Over time, what felt like a gift starts to feel normal. When something becomes normal, people no longer feel grateful for it in the same way, because they stop seeing it as something that could have been absent. This does not mean generosity is bad. It just means that generosity without boundaries can unintentionally lower how much people value what you give. That is why constant niceness can become a problem. Being nice often feels good in the moment because it avoids conflict and it creates short-term approval for others. For example, people may smile back, agree with you, or include you socially when you are easy to be around. But over time, if you always avoid disagreement or never push back when something is wrong, people begin to learn that you will not challenge them. This can lead them to take more freedom in how they treat you because they do not expect resistance. Mechiavelli warned that a ruler who is liked but not respected is in a weak position. This is because affection alone does not stop people from taking advantage. If someone only treats you well because they like you in that moment, that can change as soon as their feelings do. But if they know there are consequences for crossing you, they are far less likely to test your boundaries. Think about a conversation you've had where someone keeps talking over you before you can finish your sentence. The first time, you let it go because it doesn't seem worth making an issue out of. The next time, you stay quiet and wait for them to finish. After a few conversations, they start doing it almost every time. They are not necessarily trying to disrespect you, they have simply learned that interrupting you has no consequences. Now imagine responding differently. The first time it happens, you calmly say, "Let me finish." And you don't say this with anger. And you are not saying this to start an argument. You are saying this because you want to make your boundary clear. And the next time, you respond the same way. Before long, they stop interrupting you. Not because they are afraid of you, but because they know what happens every time they cross that line. People do not learn from what you say once, they learn from what you consistently do. A boundary that changes on your mood is not really a boundary at all, it is a suggestion.